Good morning, Broad Street. Find a way. Today I'm with Doris Viejas from our accounting department, and we're going to talk about this week's fundamental. Good morning, Doris.
Good morning.
And thank you for being with me today, Doris. Doris, my question for you today is, have you ever been told that's the way we always do it? And how did you handle the situation, and what did you possibly learn from it?
Yes, definitely yes. So I started Broad Street. I think I've been here 6 years now, or almost 6 years. No, I think the full 6 years. So when I started as an accounting assistant, um, and a lot of my work was kind of manual. Um, it was things like scanning in checks directly to each bank account, and then scanning a copy and manually entering it in Yardi, and then attaching the check, image. And it was a process. It wasn't that it was difficult work. It was just very time consuming, and it was not efficient. Um, and the question at every interview that everybody asks, which is like, what is, your biggest or like maybe not failure, but like challenge, like what do you not excel? For me, it's that I need to know why I'm doing something. Like you can't just tell me just do this. I need to know the why, I need to know the how, I need to know like how it attaches to everything else. And I mean, thank you, Tina, for putting up with me for answering my millions of questions, um, and going, I don't know. We've always just done it that way, but let me find out. um, and I was very grateful that she's also the kind of person that if you bring the kind of manager that if you bring a problem or if you bring something to her, she listens and she goes, "That's a good question. Let's figure it out." So when that happened, when it came to like cashing checks and whatnot, that was one of the first things that I like tackled when I first came in. We ended up adding our pay scan to Yardi. It's something that we just had to add on. We already had the equipment, we had everything. We just did the setup, and now we don't have to scan in each check, copy and then manually attach it and do a receipt and blah blah blah. No, we just scan in a check. It pops up. It populates with the tenant. It adds it to the ledger, and it attaches an image. So it cuts down the time by probably 80%. Um, so I mean, that's one of the first and most like uh, glaring examples that I could think of. But I'm sure anybody in accounting or anybody that's worked with me can give you 50 more, because my first question will always be, why do we do that? How does that tie into it? Can I have more background?
That's a great example of being tenacious and being determined to find a way to do it that would be a better use of your time and more efficient.
I agree. I always see kind of, all of us. Um, I feel like we should definitely question why we do things, because sometimes there are better ways, and we don't think about it until another person asks the question, and you're forced to, think about it, and you go, huh, that's a good question. And sometimes, the process is there for a reason and it's great and we all have understanding. But sometimes, there are better ways to do it.
Absolutely. So finding a way is basically to discover how to achieve or deal with something, to engineer a way to get it done, like you did with um,
Check scans and
the
stuff.
checks. A person who is resourceful or tenacious and comes up with a creative solution to overcome some type of obstacle. Someone who is persistent, determined, resilient, like won't stop until they get the desired results.
Thank you,
That
accounting, for
is
putting up with me in my
right.
millions of
So
questions.
that is finding a way. So two quotes that speak to this week's fundamental. The first is, in the middle of every difficulty lies opportunity. Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein. And the last is, winners always find a way. Unknown. So I want to thank you again, Doris, for being with me today and sharing your thoughts on this fundamental find a way and the great example of how you figured out a way to handle the checks in a much more efficient way. Broad Street, find a way and have a great week.